Hey everyone, it's me, Doomlink, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. We are back in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and yeah, there's not much more to say other than that. I was just sort of remarking in my mind how hilarious it is that this guy's name is PlayNow616. He's a guild card that I added maybe about a year ago. Something like that. Maybe a little more than a year ago by now. But I think I accepted his guild card purely on the basis of the fact that he had such a funny name, Play Now. As if it's some free-to-play game that's being advertised on some crappy website, you know. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Play Now, be a hunter. Something like that. But, yeah. Just thought I would mention that. Something a little different. This is going to be my last recording for the next 4 days or so, something like that, 4 or 5 days. I'm just taking a brief break again. Because I am going away somewhere. But, and so therefore I thought that doing a Monster Hunter recording would be good, you know, something that people want to actually watch, so enjoy. We are going to search for a hub. Obviously we've got Brandon doing Savage Devil Joe, I don't know why. I am kind of tempted to do Savage Devil Joe, but he's one of those hunts that I'm often doing on camera here. You have to understand that what I hunt is ultimately dependent on what people are going to be hunting in these random rooms that I join. And generally you do have a pool of monsters that you will fight, and a pool of monsters that you will not fight. For instance, when was the last time I fought... What's an example? I suppose Chaotic Gore Magala is not a good example, because I did Chaotic Gore in my Joke Weapon Roulette video. I think it was the 4th recording of Joke Weapon Roulette, I did Chaotic Gore Magala. But, you know, that kind of monster. The sort of monster that you don't often fight. I mean, you never seem to find... what's he called? Barrioth. You never seem to find him in this game, and I understand why. It's because his weapons don't really match up to other ice weapons in the game, you know. You've got a game that has Ukanlos, Lagombi, and lots of other ice monsters, so therefore, oh great. As soon as I go live, of course the sun comes out. I fucking knew that would happen. So therefore, annoyingly, I am going to have to set up some kind of... Oh, will it be necessary to set up my usual lighting thing? No, perhaps not. It seems the sun wants to be extremely, you know, annoying today, as usual, to be honest. But, yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In the 3rd generation games, when Barrioth was pretty much the only ice monster that you'd fight, there was, I suppose the only example of that would have to be Tri, wouldn't it? In other words, Tri was the game in which you would use Barrioth weapons most often, whereas in the games after Tri, you had other options, and especially by the time you get into this game, there's no real reason to use Barrioth weapons, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm just going to get my chat up, then we will be good to go. It looks like I won't have to set up anything relating to my lighting, crossing my fingers. I mean, in the next, you know, this is going to be about a 2-hour recording, so I'm sure at some point there I will have to do something, but we will see. Chat is popped out. Okay, turns room. I'll have to refresh all of this because it will have updated in the time that it's taken me to find something. The Potato Dome. I'm assuming that is a reference to something. If it's something, you know, really, if it's a really obvious pop culture reference, then it's, well, I wouldn't say that it would be embarrassing that I wouldn't know it, but people would take issue with it. They'd be like, you don't know the Potato Dome? And I'll be like, yeah, sorry, I'm not really one for pop culture these days. Well, it's not that I'm not one for pop culture, it's just that my interests seem to be a little different from other people's, so... yeah. Charm Farm, I don't know why I read, like, C-H-A-M Farm, as in short for Chameleos. Not many people fight Chameleos in this game. At least I don't think so. Bloodbath Diablos. That could be a little fun. Yeah, why not? I don't know what level of Bloodbath we're going to be fighting. We'll put it in these terms. If it's G5 or EX, I won't do it. If it's anything under G5, I'll do it. Just because it's a lot of time to spend on a quest that you don't really want anything from, you know. I will go and get some wine organised. Actually, I suppose I should get ready for the question. It's Bloodbath Diablos. I believe his elemental weakness is the same as regular Diablos. It est ice. So therefore... well, I'm actually going to make sure because I don't want to be wrong about that. So we've got Bloodbath Male here. Oh, water is the primary weakness. Excuse me. I was wrong. It's not a huge surprise. You would hope that a deviant version of a monster would have a different elemental weakness. Otherwise it gets a bit boring, doesn't it? So therefore I suppose I'll go Waterlight Bowgun and I'll switch to Adept just because I haven't fought all that many Bloodbath Diablos, I have to admit. So therefore, because I'm not entirely confident in my ability to survive with a light bowgun setup, I am using Adept just to be on the safe side. So monster list, how many Bloodbath have we killed? Oh, well, no, that's about right. 10 is about right, because I did my friend's Bloodbath Diablos quest line, I did all of it, and it was enough to make the bow. I think I made the Bloodbath bow, which is my raw pierce bow of the game, and I don't think I fought him at all after that. So, yeah, we would have fought him enough times to get the quest up to EX. We did EX Bloodbath as well. And then, yeah, however many quests that would have ended up being by the time I can't remember what he was making, to be honest, so I can't remember if it was probably just a weapon, you know, that he wanted. But I don't think I really fought Bloodbath outside of that. And these people just waiting for someone to post, I really don't care. I can post, like, Bloodbath G1, you know. Anyone posting? I mean, well, this gives me an opportunity to pour some wine, doesn't it? I'm almost out, so I have to, like, tilt it. Hold on. What a thing to do on camera, right? This is not the best port in the world, but it's 4 liters of it, so... Again, it's a case of quantity over quality. Why would you just leave? Okay, if people are gonna start leaving, I'll fucking post. I came here, it's like everyone doesn't particularly want to fight anything. You know, they don't really want to hunt Bloodbath Diablos. It's one of those situations where it's like, in Hunsterverse there is a... Okay, sorry. I came here to hunt Bloodbath Diablos, and apparently we don't want to hunt Bloodbath Diablos. I mean, it's so typical of this community, really. Everyone stands around, okay, waiting for someone else to post a quest. And then someone goes and actually posts a quest and they're like, I'm not doing that. It's like so fucking typical, honestly. I joined there because I assumed that perhaps the room host would want to hunt. Or maybe, you know, someone else would join with the interest of hunting. And then once I realized, you know, when the host left that wasn't going to be happening, I thought, well, okay, I'll post then. I haven't done my own Bloodbath Diablos, so that works out well. Next thing you know, negative on that one. What a fucking joke. Welcome to Generations Ultimate. It's the most brain-dead Mulsanna community I've ever come across. By a long shot. By a long shot. Although most of the ridiculous moments I recall when it comes to this game are not on camera. Some of them are, but most are not. In fact, I had a guy... How many days ago was this? This might have been about 5 days ago. Or 4. I was hunting in Generations Ultimate with my friend Tyler, and we fought Valstrax. And a guy was equipped for this Valstrax hunt. This guy was hunter rank 278, something like that. He was in the high 200s, I remember. And he was using a dragon weapon. Not just any dragon weapon, he was using a Shagaru Magala charge blade. Now, Shagaru Magala, much like Alatrion, is a very elementally focused dragon weapon type monster. My meaning being that the weapons that are crafted from those monsters are very elementally focused, not so much raw damage focused. They do have a decent amount of affinity, or at the very least in the case of Shagaru Magala, it does have a decent amount of affinity to make up for the lack of raw damage, but it is, again, quite elementally focused as a weapon. Now, the ridiculous thing about someone turning up to a Shagaru Magala quest with a high element dragon weapon is that Valstrax. Valstrax not only doesn't take much damage from dragon. He doesn't take any damage from dragon. 0. Absolutely no dragon damage whatsoever. And this guy's turned up with a high element dragon weapon. You know, he's a high hunter rank, or maybe not high as far as this game is concerned, but I was kind of concerned. And I said to him, you do realize that Valstrax takes 0 damage from dragon, right? And this was his response, get this. He said, all Elder Dragons take dragon damage. No, he said, all Elder Dragons are weak to dragon. Okay, so I've told him, you know, irrespective of the hunter rank gap between us, might be irrelevant, I don't know. Maybe the guy's played other Monster Hunter games. Probably. But in response to what I said, he says, all Elder Dragons are weak to dragon. As if I'm lying to him, or if I'm mistaken. And I said to him, I can't even remember what I said to him at that point, but he was confused. He was like, I didn't depart because I was trying to fix his misunderstanding, because, you know, if he's going to turn up to an Elder Dragon quest with high element for an element that the monster is totally and utterly resistant to at that hunter rank, well, needless to say, I'm going to try to put him right. I departed with him in the end anyway, and we killed the monster fairly quickly because Valstrax isn't that difficult of a hunt. But it just struck me as odd that the guy said, when I told him that that Valstrax takes no damage from dragon, he's like, well, all monsters are weak to dying, right? All monsters are weak to dying, that's a quote. And then he said, I play the game how I like. Anyway, it did end up being that it wasn't entirely important that he had the right weapon, but it just struck me as odd that at hunter rank 270 or whatever in this game, you can still, you know, not even assume, you just assume the weakness of a monster, and then you end up being quite, you know, terribly geared for a hunt. And then you're trying to defend your position. It's very odd. But anyway, I've never really understood that. But so we're using Thunder. And if I can remember to do so, I did eat, didn't I? Yes, I did. If I can remember to do so, which I will because I've got it in mind, I'm not going to actually consume a cool drink because I can make use of, what's it called again? Resentment. I can make use of resentment to basically constantly have red health, and therefore I can get a damage up. But yeah, that struck me as very odd. And I think during the same day, I was in the, this is kind of unrelated to this community. What am I doing? And this isn't even the desert. What the fuck is going on? Is this high rank? No, it's not. Savage Devil Joe in this location? This must be an event quest. Because the regular Savage Devil Joe hunt is in the desert. Well, that's interesting. I guess it's not a big deal that I've gone and done that now. Because I wasn't going to get red health from heat anyway. It's very odd. That completely confused me for a moment. But during the same day, I was on the Hunsterverse chat in Monster Hunter Freedom 1, and someone said, it's very interesting, you know, sometimes you get, I don't mind people who have different opinions, but if they have an opinion based on basically nothing, then I try to set them right. This guy said, I love Freedom Unite's combat system, it's so much better than 3rd gen. And I'm like, I've never heard that before. Freedom Unite has a better combat system than 3rd generation? And he elaborated by saying, Freedom Unite is more fast-paced. And it's so shocking sometimes to hear an opinion that is literally the opposite from reality, because it was the most bizarre thing I'd ever heard. And I said, you do realize that weapon types are across the board in Freedom Unite slower than 3rd generation weapons. They are less responsive and therefore are slower by definition, basically. For instance, the hammer is not as maneuverable. Even dual blades are not as maneuverable. Longsword is not as maneuverable. Pretty much every single weapon is slower in that game. And yet you can say the combat system is faster in Freedom Unite. I said to him, The combat system is slower. What's faster are the monsters. For instance, in 1st and 2nd generation, you have monsters like Ian Garuga that just run at you out of nowhere. You know, a lot of the monsters in the older, you know, pre-3rd gen games move very fast, so I conceded that perhaps the monsters would be faster than 3rd gen, but certainly not the combat system. That's just ridiculous. And he said in response to that, because I gave him a fairly lengthy, you know, dissertation on, not literally a dissertation, but you know what I mean. I basically said to him that each individual weapon type was slower in 2nd gen versus 3rd gen. And he said, oh, well, I guess because I only use Sword and Shield, it made me think that Freedom Unite was faster. And I said to him, Sword and Shield is basically effectively the same as it was in 3rd gen between Freedom Unite and 3rd generation. I said the only difference is that in 2nd generation, it basically did no damage at all, and was practically a joke weapon. And then he took offense to this, right? He took offense to the fact that I called the Sword and Shield a joke weapon, because he mained Sword and Shield in Freedom Unite, and he wanted to argue with me about how effective or ineffective the Sword and Shield weapon type was in Freedom Unite. And like, I couldn't believe it. It was shocking, you know. It's like saying Hunting Horn does lots of damage. What he was using as an excuse, or rather as an explanation, was that he had soloed all of Freedom Unite, low rank and high rank, with it with ease with Sword and Shield, and I said, well, regardless of how you play with the Sword and Shield, it doesn't change the fact that, comparatively speaking, it's probably the weakest weapon type, except for perhaps Hunting Horn. It doesn't... Your opinion doesn't enter the equation. This is mathematics. It's mathematically weaker. The motion value is much lower than everything else, because the motion value was way too high in 1st generation. They nerfed it to hell in 2nd gen, to the point where the way they did it originally was they made it so the Sword and Shield, being the starter weapon type, was easier to kill monsters with. But then they decided to make it so that new hunters were instead encouraged to move on from the Sword and Shield when they started. So, you know, unfortunately, whether you main the Sword and Shield or not, and take it personally when I say that it's a weak weapon type, unfortunately, your opinion doesn't enter the equation. Because it's just a weak weapon type. It was the funniest conversation I've had about old Monster Hunter in a long time. Someone actually taking offense to the suggestion that a weapon type is actually weaker than most other weapon types. And, I don't know, there are some strange people out there in the world, particularly on Hunsterverse. You'll find some very strange types. But, yeah, if you wanted to hear statements uttered about Monster Hunter, or opinions uttered about Monster Hunter that you've never heard anywhere else, go on to Hunsterverse and have a conversation with a few people. It'll give you a bit of a laugh. That's not to say that an uncommon opinion is automatically wrong. It's just that a lot of the opinions, well, not a lot of them, I should say, that one particularly was, but I can't speak for the others. That particular opinion was based on basically nothing. It was more or less based on a misunderstanding of whatever he was looking at. And again, he didn't want to pursue the issue as to why he thought Freedom Unite was faster than 3rd generation, based purely on the Sword and Shield weapon type, because as I said to him, the Sword and Shield, in terms of the maneuverability of it, was basically the same across the two games, because 2nd generation did introduce the ability to use potions and such, and also sharpen while your weapon was out, and it also had the same sort of maneuverability with the triangle plus circle attack, you know, etc, etc. It was basically the same moveset, minus the round slash, but it just didn't look quite as good because the animations weren't as nice. That was basically the situation. And, yeah, he didn't want to pursue that point. That might have been... I think by that point he was so offended that I had called Sword and Shield a joke weapon type, but, which it is, you know. Any person who's got a serious room together for a hunt in Freedom Unite will laugh you out the door if you're using Sword and Shield, because it's a joke. It doesn't really do any damage at all. You'd have better luck slapping your dick on the monster, to be completely honest. I'm going to fix my lighting because it's gotten brighter outside, and then later on I might, you know, do something a little more permanent about the lighting situation. Alright, that should be better. But yeah, I do often have interesting conversations with people. And hey Vernon, good to see you. You are welcome to hunt with me, of course. If I can get a space in a room for you. I'm doing fairly well. But yeah, there are a lot of stories like that, to be completely honest, where I have these hilarious conversations with people, but that one really stuck out to me the most. People who don't want to admit that they're playing the game completely incorrectly and then say, I play the game how I want. Ugh, gotta heal this guy. Ooh, that was so fucking close, man. That was so close. I pretty much healed him at the exact time he lost all of his health. That was rather unfortunate. Yeah, there's nothing I could have done there. As soon as I identified he was going to die, I put the weapon away, got the old life powder out, but it wasn't fast enough. But yeah, people who don't want to admit that they're playing the game incorrectly, you know, basically using a weapon that's not doing any elemental damage despite the fact that it capitalizes on elemental damage, and defending that by saying, I play how I want, and then people who want to get personally offended when I tell them that their weapon type of choice is actually really weak compared to other weapon types. You know, it's a strange world we live in with people who don't really know what the fuck they're on about, but that's Monster Hunter for you. There are some great people in the Monster Hunter community, but there's some real fucking goobers as well. I have to tell you. Yeah, I mean, certain things are definitely up for debate, but don't know about those other things that I mentioned. I'm staying on the ground here just so that I can keep the hell away from him. Alright, I'm tempted to use a max potion here, but I won't. I think I'll be alright, because he's moving away from me, you see. There's only two of us here. Okay, so I need nullberries, that's very important. Otherwise, I may as well go home. Not going to be doing any damage. My hair is so annoying today. It's always annoying, isn't it? But, okay. Let's put down an old pitfall trap. I mean, we've got only 3 out of 4 players, but I want to make use of this exhaustion while we have it. Should be well timed. There we go. I'd aim for the face, but I'm worried about consistent damage, so I'll just go for the stomach. Because, you know, that head's constantly bobbing up and down, so I don't want to miss any of my shots. Was that a capture or a kill? That looks like a kill to me. Again, fairly easy to kill Savage Deviljho if you've got good elemental damage, because he is extremely weak to thunder, as has been previously established. Vernon will do the usual thing if you're wanting to hunt with me. I'll just join a turns room that has space in it, probably, you know, with just 1 hunter. Maybe 2. But 1 is safer, isn't it? So I'll join a room with 1 guy, waiting for turns, and then you can join on me, which will be easier now that you're on my friends list. And we'll play it like that. It's always the easiest way to do it, because then we can hunt together and we can get different hunts each time, and it's nice and easy. It also reduces downtime, because then I don't have to look for rooms constantly. It can be fun to look at rooms because some of them have really bizarre names, but that's alright. An update on my Wii U. I can't remember the name of the person. Andredu. He was a viewer of mine. He recommended that I vacuum my Wii U. Now, I didn't sound too keen during the recording when he was telling me to do that. But in my head I was thinking, well shit. If you can vacuum electronics to remove dust from them, then why would anyone, you know, use a blower duster on anything? You know, everyone has a vacuum cleaner, it's a household item. So why would anyone, you know, use a blower duster instead of a vacuum cleaner? The obvious conclusion to be drawn there is that vacuuming is not good for some reason, so I went and checked. I had a gut feeling that vacuuming electronics is just not a fucking good idea, and lo and behold, it's really fucking not. it can create static electricity, it can be too much force for certain components to handle, and it's just not a good idea. So, therefore, I'm not going to be vacuuming anything on my Wii U because it's very important that that thing doesn't actually break or anything like that. So I just need to get myself a tri-wing screwdriver, which I, need to bring myself to actually buy. I went to my local hardware store and they do not sell security screw heads, and it's kind of annoying, but which means I have to get it online and wait for it to ship and all that business. It's probably from China even, so... Oh yes, I need to leave this room. I'll find a room. But yeah, it's a little bit annoying, I agree, but it's the way it is. And then, ultimately, I will be able to play 3 Ultimate. Alright, we're going to look for an actual turns room. That's 1 slot left for that turns room. 1 left for that turns room. What I could do is create my own turns room. I mean, that's always an option, isn't it? If I was going to join a turns room with 1 person in it anyway. Although it is nicer to have someone who actually has something they want to hunt. I don't really have anything that I want to hunt. As you can see, there's no shortage of turns rooms in this game. There almost never is. At least they don't say round-robin quest picks like they do in the official write-ups for the game. That is to say, if you go into quest goals or whatever it is, they say round-robin quest picks. I'd rather see turns than round-robin. Who has time to type round-robin? I certainly fucking don't. And if the robin is round, then stop feeding it. It's probably eating too much. Oh, take turns. At this point, this guy could have just written round robin, to be honest. Well. Hey, Andrew. I was just talking about how I decided quite sensibly not to take you up on your recommendation to vacuum the vents of my Wii U. Bad idea. I might have to make a room. It's starting to look like I will have to. Yeah, let's do it. I could give it a funny name. Turns, I could call it Round Robin Quest Picks, and we'll see if anyone knows what the fuck it is. No, I'll just call it Turns, I don't care. HR minimum, we'll put it at 13. I don't really need. Hunter rank 12's coming in. Apply range, that should probably do it, yeah. Still no Monster Hunter Stories recording. Well, if you ever do see me go live in Monster Hunter Stories, it would be a day to remember, and I would assure you that rather than, excitement or wonder, you should be feeling concern, because it means that there's nothing else going for me if I'm doing stories. It means that I've reached the bottom of my list of games that I want to play. Well, perhaps it wouldn't be at the bottom of my list, but it's somewhere close to the bottom anyway. So I guess we'll just hang around for someone to choose a quest. I mean, unless you have something you want to do, Vernon, I'll probably have player 3 start the turns quest. You actually just bought a Wii U. You were talking about that. You said that you got a Wii U that you were thinking of cleaning. But, yeah, anyway. Again, if there's anything that you want to do, Vernon, then we can do that. But, yeah, it looks like he has something to post. That should give you an idea of what the delay is. Alrighty, Trial by a Cantor, my favourite monster. I don't really dislike fighting a Cantor, but I have definitely fought him a lot in this game. On camera as well. I think because a lot of people need a Cantor Spikes for one reason or another, and also a Cantor XR is one of the better mixed sets of the game, so... what are we doing? We are... Should we go ranged? Because... no, I don't think I will go ranged, because I almost always go ranged with the Cantor, so if we want to have some level of variation, or some level of variety to the experience of hunting a Cantor, which I seem to do every time I go live in this game, then I should go close range. And in fact, I've got my Striker Lance set. Now, who do I have to thank for telling me that Striker was basically traditional Lance? I don't know if it was Vernon or if it was Potato, but I think it was a mixture of people, but thank you, because that was important information to learn. I think I'm sticking with this weapon, aren't I? Yeah. I love this lance, it's so good. When's the next Skyward Sword recording? The last one went so well. Yes, it did, didn't it? One hard spike from a Cantor. Well, you've got that covered. It's very easy to break the back of a Cantor if you have a gun. Especially if it's a Pierce gun. Looks like I'm going to have to fix my lighting. While we're waiting for people to join, I will do that. Because the sun has decided to come out. It always does that when I go live. It can be dark for the whole morning, and then as soon as I set up a recording, the sun peeks out. Ooh, Doomlink's recording, you know, it sort of looks around the cloud like some creature in a horror movie. Okay, I'll be back in just a moment while I fix that. It seemed just by chance. I mean, I moved my tripod for my webcam and it seems to still be in a pretty decent spot, so I'll take that. Alrighty, so we've got Hunter Rank 358 and a Hunter Rank 111. I do like myself some repeating numbers. I can't wait to get to 777. That's a good number. That's a lucky number, as we all know. Although the Chinese wouldn't agree. They like 888, don't they? I think so. Striker is honestly the best style? Yeah, probably is. I mean, so far I'm enjoying it for Lance because it's traditional Lance. The only thing that I'm taking issue with when it comes to Hunter Arts is the fact that it changes the combos of weapon types that I've become very used to in the series. You know, sometimes certain attacks are changed, oftentimes it's removal of functionality that bothers me. But I guess it's not the same for all weapon types. For instance, Striker Lance is exactly the same as Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate Lance, so where is my controller? There it is. I found it. Alrighty. I think we're ready to go. Oh no, that guy's going and getting something out of his box. Oh my god. I won't say anything. I just think it's, you know, by the time you're at Hunter Rank 358, I think using a set like that gets a bit boring. But, you know, for some people, best possible damage isn't quite so boring, so I won't judge him for that. Got my wine box over here. Also got rum. I've dug into this pretty quickly, I'll tell you what. Don't think I'll be getting into the rum today, though. Alrighty. I think, fucking hair, man. Fucking hair? It's always doing something, isn't it? It's basically normal Sword and Shield. Oh, Strike with Sword and Shield. Basically normal Sword and Shield, but more Hunter Arts. And I do agree that Sword and Shield has some pretty good Hunter Arts. Except for Round Force 3, that thing fucking sucks. Apparently I forgot to eat, but I think I should be alright. Did I? Yes, I got some rations. This guy probably has some armor and demon to shoot. Alright, time for a Cantor. I think the last time I fought him was in Portable 3rd. And I do prefer the canyon as an Acantor environment to this location. I call it the canyon because that was how it was translated. I don't know if that's a good translation or not. Actually don't know what it's called in Japanese, but Yeah, the canyon was only present in Portable Third and in no other game. So therefore, given that Portable Third was never released in English officially, we can only guess that it's called the Canyon, I suppose. I'll just aim for the tail here, seeing as though that's really all I can consistently hit when he's standing in the lava like that. Feels so good to use the lance like this. I get much joy from it. Much joy. See, this is exactly why I go ranged. I have to chase after this arsehole. He moves like a Tigrex, but he's so much larger, therefore he covers more ground. And it's a bloody snooze sometimes. Alright. Go. I can live without my counter on 3 hits if I don't have a heavy third thrust, because the heavy third thrust throws me off so much that having a counter on 3 hits at that point is almost completely unhelpful. I have occasionally countered on 3 hits with Guild Lance in this game, but it doesn't happen often. With that front claw, just poked him a little bit. Yeah, a Cantor is one of those monsters that pretty much hasn't changed since his first appearance in Monster Hunter Freedom 2. He's just a, you know, a Tigrex clone. A lava Tigrex. Well, no, I guess you wouldn't call Molten Tigrex a lava Tigrex, would you? Because Molten Tigrex is more of a blast creature than a lava creature, and he doesn't... Molten Tigrex doesn't exist in... Ooh, that wasn't good. Yeah, he exists in an arena environment that is not related to fire or lava or anything like that. Round Force 3 sucks because it messes up your entire team. For some reason, Round Force 1 and 2 doesn't affect your teammates, but Round Force 3 will send all of your teammates flying into the air. It would be a whole lot worse if it were to do that prior to 4th generation, because obviously in 4th generation you're not stuck in the flying animation, you can actually attack out of it and even get mounts off. I would say Roundhouse 3 definitely has a place if you have teammates that are wanting to mount frequently. But if you've got people using greatswords on your team or hammers, it's not good at all. It's very bad news, and I can assure you that while it might sound nice to have the whole team mounting constantly with Roundhouse 3, you go talk to your teammates about it and they probably won't fucking appreciate it. Because they're trying to, you know, fight the monster and they're constantly being thrown up in the air. I will tell you that I've never used Roundhouse 3, and I've never actually seen someone use Roundhouse 3, but that's what I hear the effect is, and it's pretty bad. Maybe it doesn't quite so easily hit your teammates. Maybe it mostly hits the monster and doesn't really hit through the monster to the teammate, but if you do end up standing next to a teammate while doing it, you will launch them, to my understanding, so I would not recommend that you use it, unless you do have teammates who want to mount, that is. Okay. I'll wait for the right opportunity to do Corkscrew Jab. I'm really bad with Corkscrew Jab in the sense that I get a little bit greedy with it. Here we go, this is an opportunity. And get it right on the face. Come on, baby. Ended up going into the chest, which is also pretty good, but I think I missed the initial impact, although land compensation might have dealt the damage. I'm thinking of sharpening up here. Well, maybe not. Maybe we'll take ourselves down to green. I do enjoy Shield Assault, by the way. I think that's a really good hunter art. Gives the lance a little bit more mobility. Can't complain about that. Oh, that still hit me. Maybe my counter went off on my teammate's shot instead of the attack. What the fuck just happened? If I can blame my teammate for that, I will, and I think that's what happened. I think my counter was activated by my teammate attacking next to me. Either it was the guy shooting, or the guy with the Blade Master weapon, but I was supposed to counter the impact from a Cantor, but instead, I ended up just getting hit by that attack, and then I was quite viciously comboed by the tail. That was, I say vicious, because the tail barely did anything. It just sort of, you know, it existed and then it killed me. Right as I got up, which was pretty bad, so I'm gonna say that that is not a legitimate death, because there was too much bullshit surrounding that one. Hello, Ron, good to see you. Hair. Please. Oh yeah, cool drink. Yeah, dying to a Cantor is not really... the only excuse that you usually have for dying to a Cantor is defense down, and that's usually a pretty good excuse because it really causes you to take heavy damage, but that situation fucking sucked. Seems that we have cut the tail based on its presence on the map there. Aiming for the claw here, hoping for a knockdown. Of course, usually the back legs are better for attacking to get a knockdown, but if you can break the claw, oh no, I guess if he's in the middle of doing something he doesn't get knocked down, or maybe breaking a claw doesn't result in a knockdown at all. Maybe it was just a bad guess on my part. Try to advance forward to the other claw. I just like to break everything on. That is a funny maneuver, which is incidentally not present on 2nd gen Cantor. Let's advance close to the legs here to avoid this attack. Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding. What are you, Fatalis? You get on all fours and you fucking kill me. Dickhead. He didn't literally kill me, but you know, that's what Fatalis does in the old games. That was one of the most difficult things about Fatalis in 1st and 2nd gen. You're standing next to him when he's on all fours, and then he just... or rather when he's on his hind legs and then he goes on all fours and you just die. And that's what that situation felt like. That was bullshit. Anyway. I will blame my teammate for that cut. What do you mean? You saw it, Potato. I didn't counter the Acantor's attack, I countered my teammate's attack, and that caused me to get comboed by the tail. I don't know, that's definitely not tenuous, I'd say that is a legitimate grievance. A very legitimate grievance. You weren't there. Well, you were there, but you weren't me. If you were me, you would know. Oh, that's right, we've got the tail. I heard the ping. I'm trying to pour my wine and then someone's pinging. Alright, let's go grab that tail. Well, I don't really need it, do I? I've probably got more Acantor materials than almost any other monster in the game, to be honest. Although, maybe not. We could check my box as I take the material from the box, but... See how my hair is now? It should be one piece, not separated. Not that kind of shit, it should be one piece. Okay, so what have we got? Oh, I actually don't have that many Acantor materials apparently, that's a bit odd. I guess I've just used most of them, haven't I? It is what it is. I mean, I've got enough. I've got, you know, 20 to 30 of each material, but not quite as much as I was expecting. Alrighty, so we'll just rotate to player 3, I guess. I don't know if they need me to say P3. It seems that a lot of people need me to, you know, announce the obvious, but I'll do it once just to give them an idea of the order, and then I won't say anything after that. But I have found that in Turns Rooms it previously wasn't necessary. I think because when Turns Rooms first appeared, it was in 3 Ultimate. At least I never saw them in Tri. Maybe in the North American servers of Tri they were doing that, but not in the European servers of Tri. So the first time I saw Turns Rooms, you know, in existence was in 3 Ultimate. They never did that where they actually told people whose turn was next, because it was normal. It would go from 1 to 4 and then cycle back. And, you know, if player 2 selected a quest, then naturally player 3 would come next. I can't speak. But I guess that indicates the difference in general intelligence between the 3 Ultimate community and this community. I guess I should have said no deviants, but I'll do this, I don't mind. Grimclaw Tigrex is a bit of fun. You hope Acantor is in Rise? I don't, I'm sick of fucking fighting him. I fought him in Freedom Unite, Portable Third, 4 Ultimate, Generations Ultimate. 4 games should be enough. Had I played Freedom 2, I would have fought him in that too. In other words, make a new fucking monster. I'm sick of fighting him in every game that I play. The only games I haven't played, or haven't fought him in, are the 2 3rd gen games where he doesn't appear. So Grimclaw Tigrex, is he still weak to thunder? Probably not. It would be just my luck that he wouldn't be. So what have we got? Grimclaw? Grimclaw? You've got to be fucking me anally. I don't have the materials for the armor? That's not right. Well, whatever. I'll use something raw based, how about that? We'll use blunt dual blades. I do like a blunt set. That's one of the best things to implement into Monster Hunter, I think. You know, skills that are based on low sharpness weapon types. And also high negative affinity weapon types is what I was going to say. Well, what I meant to say, I was going to say high affinity weapon types. It's not quite what I was looking for. But yeah, weapons that are, you know, for instance, the Acantor weapons that are low sharpness, high raw. Really, really good to use Bludgeoner with that. And also bitter affinity is a great skill for those other weapon types. Because prior to Generations, there wouldn't really be a great reason to use an Acantor weapon. I mean, it wasn't terrible, it just... I felt that with the Acantor weapons in the older games, it was usually better to go for reasonable G-rank raw, plus good element that would match the monster, versus really high raw on green sharpness with an Acantor weapon. That's usually how it worked. So, Acantor weapons just didn't really sit with me. So... And there was also the fact, I mean, they were decent in the sense that they had pretty good, what do you say? Pretty good affinity for the most part. But... does negative affinity decrease crit attack chance? Or make it so crit attacks do less damage than normal attacks? The latter, Potato. It is impossible to get a positive crit with negative affinity. The only way you can possibly get a critical attack out is if you have more than 0% affinity. So 5% and above. Negative affinity is basically the same, so effectively it makes it so that if you have negative 5% affinity, you effectively have a 5% chance to deal a negative crit. So that's how it works. It's not literally a negative % chance, thus indicating an impossibility. It's just it's a way of saying that you've got 5% of a chance to deal a negative version of a crit. So, yeah, that does confuse some people at first, but that's the way negative affinity has always worked. It's interesting to note, because so many people don't realize it, because when blights were first introduced in Monster Hunter Tri, Dragon Blight traditionally did not steal your element, it rather gave you negative 30 affinity. So, well, I think it gave you... It didn't automatically give you negative 30, it just reduced your affinity by 30. So if you were at 0%, obviously you'd go to negative 30. I believe that's how it worked. I don't think, irrespective of what your positive affinity was, it would automatically go to negative 30. I don't think it did that. I believe it was just a subtraction of 30 based on whatever you had. So... yeah, that's how Dragon Blight used to work, and quite frankly I preferred that. I much preferred that to having your element removed, because the element being removed seemed a little bit too much, but I guess they decided that... wow. Not a bad team. Not a bad team, and what great timing. What great timing. I like this team, officially. Do I have high gradient bugs on this set? I do, but I obviously got hit by the damaging effects of the rule. Whoa! But yeah, I definitely preferred the way Tri did Dragon Blight. But not everything they did with Blights was better in Tri. For instance, you had to have... each individual Blight was healed by an individual seed that corresponded with the Blight. So for instance, you had to use water block seeds to heal water Blight, and fire seeds or fire berries or whatever they were. Or Dragonfell berries were consumed to heal Dragon Blight, for instance. Most of those seeds have disappeared from the series, except Dragonfell berries always were in the series, because they've always been... whoa. I thought I had my weapons put away, that was not good. Whoa. I don't really know what happened there. I'm glad I didn't get comboed. But yeah, some things about Try I did like, but others I didn't. The way Try did guns was very nice. I loved that. I think it was a mistake for them to stop that entirely. That's one thing that Rise could have done. If Rise was intending on getting certain aspects of old Monster Hunter and bringing it into 5th generation, that would have been a great way to do it, you know, bring back the Try system for bowguns. But I guess that would be too complicated now, wouldn't it? Too complicated for the new players. Poor useless bastards. I think I should probably lower the brightness of my room again. I'm looking a bit too illuminated. Okay. Just aiming for those legs for a knockdown. I really should use Wolf's Maw, shouldn't I? Let's do that. I do love Wolf's Maw. Uh-oh, no, 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 no! Okay, that wasn't too damaging, actually. I'll take that. This is G3, isn't it? Feels like high rank damage. I guess it's not high rank damage, is it? So I did take a pretty heavy hit, like, that's a pretty heavy hit, for instance. Alright, be very careful, be very careful. What am I doing? What am I doing? I was working out what to do in that moment because I was very much at risk. Oh, Vernon's down. That'll give you an idea of what the delay is, by the way, Vernon. But, yeah. Whoa, fucking hell. That is a crazy attack. I really like that. I'm taking hits quite a lot because I'm not in any way familiar with Grimclaw's attacks, and I'm playing very lazily. Like, whenever I sit down and play live hunts, I'm just, you know... I honestly play entirely subconsciously, and I've got no skill from which to draw when it comes to playing subconsciously with the Grimclaw Tigrex, because he moves a little differently to Tigrex normally, so... Yeah, I'm not... What are you doing? That's confusing. That guy is exclaiming something in Chinese. Oh, something about being stunned, no doubt. I'll go in for the attack against my better judgment. I really should be healing. Alright, what are we doing here? You are going to combo me, are you? Yes, you are. Well, that's fine. Not a huge fan of getting repeatedly stunned, but yeah, I'll take that death, that's fine. I knew I was being risky by not healing there, but... oh, it is what it is. Alright, we'll use a Mega Dash Juice. And I will certainly sharpen back up. I don't want to get into the red. Because I believe that... I think you still get increased damage from orange, but if you're hitting red, you don't get a damage increase anymore. It's just bad damage, I think. I believe that's how it works. I felt as if that's how it was. It's not really anything that's ever mentioned, and I haven't heard anyone mention it. But I do think that if you're in the red, even if you have Bludgeoner, you're not doing good damage. So it's best to go down to orange and then sharpen up. Or rather, sharpen as soon as you hit red, at least. Doing the triangle combo there, because as you can see, that is best for getting your charge up. And the other Grimclaw has despawned. I keep forgetting that that happens in this game. I'm very used to the older games where the monsters don't despawn. I don't know why they do that in the modern games. There must be a reason for it. But it's fucking annoying. And doesn't seem to add to anything. Yeah, it's way too fucking bright. Let me reduce the brightness. That should be better. Okay. I'm also going to go and blow my nose. Where are the thumbs up, guys? Don't ask too much of them, Ron. No, sometimes I'm lucky to not get a thumbs down, to be completely honest. I find that it's very easy to get a thumbs down on my videos from someone watching, because usually, you know, I'll say something and they get offended, hit the thumbs down and leave, you know. Especially if I mention something about World. That's the best way to get a thumbs down on my video. But I think I've been reasonably well behaved during this quest. Oh, thank you, Nitin, for not needing to be told. Someone with some sense. My favourite hunt. No, I don't really mind Pitched Pinnacle Battle, it's just... it's pretty miserable with the wrong team. What would I like to use? I could either... I usually have two choices. I usually go Heavy Pierce, or I go with Light Thunder Element. What would I like to do? I could do this. Yeah, good idea. Rapid Dragon. It's a great idea. Something a little different. I haven't done this often. It's not something you often see. I mean, I've never seen... If I have seen it, it would have only been once ever, where I have seen someone, in this game particularly, use a dragon-focused elemental lightbow gun set. Never seen it. It's just one of those things, you know. Just like how you never see people play Adrenaline in these games anymore. It's just fallen out of favour. Very much so. Okay, do forgive me while I set things up. I need Dragon Level 1, and I also need combination materials for Dragon Level 1. Nitin has already come to check on what I'm doing. I'm so sorry for existing, honestly. I use Dragonfell berries, don't I? Yes, I believe so. Let me confirm that. Yeah, that makes Dragon Level 1, and I have Dragon Level 2 on internal ammo. And then... wow, she's getting real bright outside now. Just as well I've got that there, light, tapering off. Exchanger will be good, yeah. I mean, if I really cared about the hunt, I would have gone for Moxie, but I guess I don't really care about the hunt. There you go. What else would we like? I guess Pierce Level 3, we need to go buy that. And I also have, what's it called? Shrapnel. There's an interesting internal ammo called Shrapnel. I understand it to deal decent damage. But I don't know how much decent damage is when it comes to that. I'm going to put away these. And then we're going to depart. I'm so sorry, Nitin. I'm a gunner. I have to, you know, take some time to prepare, don't I? Just killed Xenojiva. He was an interesting hunt. A reasonable addition to the Elder Dragon list, I would say. It was funny seeing the dislikes on your Demon Souls recording when the remake came out. Yeah, exactly. This isn't the remake, I'm giving it a dislike. It's like it's my fault that they're stupid. It's my fault, I guess, that they don't know the difference between a remake recording and traditional Demon Souls recording. Go away. And of course, at that time I would have recorded the remake if I were able to, but, you know, not only did I not have a PS4 pre-ordered, but it was very difficult to get your hands on one in Australia in general, so that's just how it was. Whoa, 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 bad timing, woo! Fucking hell. That's a good way to get the heart rate up. I don't think it would have killed me, it just would have, you know, almost killed me. There's a fucking feline that just took all of those hits, which I'm not impressed about. Whoa, Vernon nearly did the unthinkable. He nearly flinched me into getting hit. Well, I'm lining up for a good pierce here. There we go. Of course, in the traditional Monster Hunter games, you had a few elemental shots that pierced by default. The only one that remains 3rd gen and beyond that actually has a piercing effect is Dragon. You can stop now. And it seemed that Dragon shots as of 4th gen do not have as much of an arc as they did in 3rd generation. In 3rd gen they had quite a significant arc. And it's worth mentioning that in Tri, dragon shots were treated like any other elemental shot. It's the only Moss Under game that's had dragon shots where they have treated it like a normal element. I guess I don't think it was as strong as dragon has traditionally been, but they decided that dragon should be treated a little differently. In that, you know, you can only have 3 in your inventory at one time, you get limited combinations, and there aren't many guns that shoot it. And it does heavy, heavy damage as a result. I think that's an interesting way to do it, rather than have it be just a normal elemental shot, like they chose to do it in Tri. But it was fun to use it in Tri for that reason. So, I'm glad they did it at least for one game, because it's fun. You used a hunting horn against Xeno'jiiva, that sounds like good fun. Sounds like real good fun. Alrighty. Now moving on to Dragon Level 1, which is... well, I believe it, yeah, this has just as good of a piercing effect, I think. Or maybe it doesn't, maybe it's a smaller piercing effect. I hadn't really thought about that. It seems to have roughly the same effect, though. Oh, hello. I have to be careful of the recoil. I think this has decent recoil. Pressing the wrong buttons to combine, of course. I'm going to put a bullet geyser on you there. Seeing as though there aren't many teammates around to get fucked up by it. Look. Come on, stop pressing the wrong button. Alrighty. Oh, do I have my combo books? I don't have my combo books. I'm stupid. Okay, well... Lady Luck, please be on my side. There was 75% chance to get a successful combination, and I managed to get 3 successfully without garbage being created, so that's... well, it looks like my recoil isn't as bad as I thought. It's not great, but... okay, Lady Luck. Ah! No fucking way. 75%, and I got 6 shots without garbage. That's pretty impressive. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Alrighty. Trying to get ourselves in position. I do like the look of this set as well. But it looks like this because 2 of the... Nitin. Way to shit on the Hun. You ruin our DPS for no result. Oh well. Well, for no payoff, I guess, is the term that I'd use. Of course, the benefit to light bowgun is its ability to be sheathed quickly. So, really, the way you would use light bowgun versus heavy bowgun is... heavy bowgun should be used in tandem with evade extender, so that you can keep it out and evade, whereas light bowgun should be used without evade extender for the reason that you can put it away pretty much as soon as you want to, and then be ready to dive out of anything that would come your way. That's the way I use light bowgun. I nearly got comboed there. Well, comboed in the sense that I got caught in a moment when I couldn't really resist. You took a nice hit there. But, yeah, not a huge fan of using heavy bowgun without evade extender. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, use heavy bowgun with quick sheath and non-evade extender. I would say that for heavy bowgun, quick sheath would act as an alternative to evade extender because it ultimately gives you the ability to evade more easily because you can sheath it much faster. I've never really understood why people would use heavy bowgun without sufficient maneuverability skills, or mobility skills, I guess I would say. I was going to say something, but I've forgotten now. Well, whatever. There was something totally unrelated to that I was going to mention, but... I don't often go to that side. I often go straight forward when I'm evading a Devil Joe's swinging attack, but... not this time. Didn't feel quite right. Oh, 2 people took a hit. I think Chief is dead. He's dying on the... oh! I mean, if I was smart, I would have, you know, life powered faster than that. Vernon went for the max potion, which is what I always do. If I'm almost dead, it's much better to just use a max potion so that you're out of the shit zone, and also you save yourself from wasting materials. So, well, it's not that it's a waste of materials, it's just, you know, you save yourself using 2 mega potions and a regular potion to get yourself up to full. That's 1 recovery item for the price of 3. So I usually do it for 2 benefits, basically. Probably won't use Bullet Geyser until I'm in a dangerous situation. Again, lining up for good Pierce. That's the biggest thing with Pierce gunning. While Pierce gunning does not require the level of accuracy that you would need for really good normal gunning, it does require that you line up with a monster properly so as to get good piercing through the body. But most people would prefer to do the latter than the former. Because again, normal shots, it's very interesting. Normal shots have become so uncelebrated. So many things have gone out of use by 4th generation Monster Hunter. I'm talking, you know, as of 4 Ultimate, which for some people is, you know, the epitome of traditional Monster Hunter, which is a bit of a sad realization that some people consider 4th gen to be, you know, traditional. I see it to be very different because the community is totally different, and I'm about to explain why. As of 4 Ultimate and continuing into this game and no doubt World and Rise, certain things have fallen out of use like adrenaline gunning, dragon gunning, normal gunning. Gunning in general has been trivialized and has become something that is more accessible for any average hunter to go and pick up. It was not traditionally that way. And one way in which people have been incentivized to pick up the gun is through making it ridiculously overpowered in certain circumstances, such as with Valor. Another way is by making it so that you don't even need a different fucking armor set for guns, such as with World and what they were doing with armor sets there. I think it's ridiculous. I think gunning has always been sort of an exclusive club for those who wanted a different experience to Blade Master and wanted to have a little bit more danger involved in their experience, you know, taking heavier damage, having to deal with ammunition reloads in the middle of hunts, you know, it's a different skill set. But it, again, was trivialized with certain changes. So, not a fan. Not a fan. And I also don't like how guns were changed in 5th generation to make it so that, you know, the shots move slower and aiming down the sights became a fucking attachment. Or you want to aim down your sights? Attachment, you know. You have to forego things like close range up, and well, you probably wouldn't need close range up if you were gonna go ADS, but I suppose instead of other possible skills that you could put onto your gun, you're instead adding a fucking zoom attachment, which is annoying. It shouldn't be necessary. One attachment that was always useless was variable zoom. I don't think anyone ever wanted that. They could have kept that if they wanted a fucking useless attachment, but my point is that aiming down the side of the gun should be an innate part of the bowgun. A-Gaming seems to be really agreeing with what I'm saying right now. Thank you. Someone, you are a comrade, I suppose. I should be able to clear this, because he has a big lead up to it. I'm using shrapnel now because I believe it to do more damage than Pierce level 1. I prioritise Pierce level 3 over its use for the reason that I believe Pierce 3 will do more damage ultimately, but probably I don't know if Pierce 2 would do the same damage. Probably, I'd say it would be about equivalent. Could always be wrong, it's just an estimate. So, reload cancel that one. Okay. Notice how it's still not fucking dead. We have wailed on this thing. Absolutely wailed on it, and it is still alive. I hope I'm not fucking up my team with shrapnel. It can do that. And that's why I'm sort of shooting high up on the monster. That is a limp, but still, I mean, we've really beaten on this asshole. If that Grimclaw Tigrex hunt is any indication of how much damage we're dealing as a team, we've basically been non-stop shitting on this thing and it's only now limping. It's a very beefy monster. Can you fuck off, Aptonoth? I swear to God, if you ruin my hunt simply by existing, then I'm going to wish for for the discontinuation of your existence. Oof, okay. Main objective complete. Well done, everyone. Did we get a feint in the end? We didn't get a feint. Nice work, everyone. I like this team. Again, just a random team. Just made a turns room and got a fucking good team. It's not often that you would even get a good team with a turns room, because it's usually people who are at the lower level of hunters, and I guess I do have Vernon with me, which definitely helps. Basically makes it so that we've at least got 2 hunters that know what they're doing, but definitely it's not often that you can get another 2 good hunters. And Nitin, I mean, he failed the mount, but he can hold his own, you know. He's not dying despite using Greatsword to a Hyper Devil Joe, and, you know, I'd definitely be at risk of death if I were going Greatsword against a Hyper Devil Joe, but he's held his own, he's doing well, he's doing good damage from what I can tell. And, yeah, good on him. Doomlink petitions Capcom to remove Aptonoth from the game. I'm fine with Aptonoth, it's Apsaros that I don't want. The fact that they brought Apsaros back in World is sickening to me. I can't believe they did that. That's like the ultimate insult to any Monster Hunter player, bringing back Apsaros. Fuck off. No one wants Apsaros. Bullfangor and Apsaros are basically equally as bad. And then Rhinopolis is a few steps down, you know. People who played Tri as their first game hated Rhinopolis so much, but in reality it's the Bullfangor that you need to be taking issue with. And also the Apsaros. Fucking asshole things. It just struck me as insane that World comes out with the desert location. They've got the opportunity to have these new interesting monsters in this ecosystem, and what do they choose as their monster? Apsaros. Apsaros. What the fuck? It's actually like a joke. I bet the people behind World were sitting at the tables snickering about it, you know. Like, let's put Apsaros in the game. They want monsters in the desert ecosystem? Apsaros. Enjoy. Fucking assholes, man. That's exactly what it would have been like. Anyway. What we got now? It's a miner's life. My last time hunting Lavazioth was in Freedom Unite. I did a double quest. Here's a funny story. This would have been about 3 days ago. I was hunting Lavazioth in a double quest in Freedom Unite, and this guy, bless his heart, threw not 1 but 2 dung bombs. Now, dung bombs didn't receive the ability to prompt monsters to leave the area until Tri. That was when that started. Prior to that, dung bombs were like a joke thing. In 2nd gen, dung bombs have a cloud effect. So imagine a smoke bomb, but brown coloured. That's what a dung bomb is like in Freedom Unite. And this guy threw a dung bomb not once but twice during this double Lavazioth hunt. And we couldn't see anything. It was just this. We had 2 Lavazioth in the fucking room, because of course if he's throwing a dung bomb, it's because we're being invaded by another Lavazioth. And he throws the fucking dung bomb. We can't see anything. There's 2 Lavazioth flopping around trying to kill us. It was miserable. I was going ranged. I was using... What was I using? I think it was... I was using a rapid water bow with stealth that did nothing because, in other words, sneak. Sneak is called stealth in 2nd gen. And it was just, it was not fun. Not a fun experience. Okay, I need to stop talking and actually get a set on the go. Let's actually do the same thing. I'll go rapid water. I don't even know what my rapid water bow is to be completely honest. Hopefully I can work that out. No, that's my heavy bow, Beyond the Firmaments. Absolute Deviance, rapid level 4. Now L rapid. Does Absolute Deviance have rapid on the level, whatever it would be? I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. That's spread. Okay, let's just go regular. This might not even be the right bow, but I don't really care. I don't want to keep my teammates waiting. Let's go, wherever it is. Absolute Deviance. I've got level 4 there. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. But yeah, that hunt with the double Lavazioth in Unite was really quite terrible. I will tell you that much. Sorry, team. Keeping people waiting in this game is a big fucking deal, I'll tell you that much, because they don't like to wait. We'll go Defender High and... Ooh, Moxie or Defender High? We'll go Moxie because this is a Hyper Monster. And Nitin is like... He's pretty fucking ready for me to get going. So, Elemental level 2, Power level 1. And then we'll go. Sorry. I do also love what they've done with coatings in these games. I think it was a very good idea to have these different types of coatings, you know, different levels to coatings and also elemental coatings in general. I don't know why they never thought to do that. That should have been something they did very early on with bows. It should have been done in Monster Hunter 2. They should have made it so that bows had elemental coatings, but they didn't do that. Because they're assholes. Well, not assholes, they just didn't have the foresight to realise that, you know, power coating and then close range coating if you don't have power coating is not really sufficient. But anyway. You know what they could have done? They could have had internal coatings, imagine that. Maybe that's going a bit far. Internal coatings, like you would have internal ammo. We are 1 hour and 16 minutes into the recording. And I'm going to pour some more wine. Okay, nice and quick because I'm angling it. Okay. Let's go and find ourselves a Lavazioth. I will be uploading some Monster Hunter Freedom 1 stuff again for Doomlink's random hunts, but I just need to get around to doing that. And again, as I said, I'll be away for the next 4 or 5 days. So, it won't be happening until then, but I'm going to try and have the next recording that I do, as far as what's uploaded to the channel, be Doomlink's random hunts in Freedom 1, if I can. It is somewhat subject to whether or not I can get a team together. But even if I can't get a proper team, then I can always do a 2-man hunt and do something like that. Here we go, let's put on power coating. Actually, let's start. No, we'll start with power. So strange doing this after Freedom Unite. That combo right there is intense. That is unique to 4th gen. Of course, Lavazioth disappeared for a number of games. He was in Freedom Unite. He was originally a Frontier monster. I don't know if he's an absolute original Frontier monster. I think he is. And his first appearance in the mainline series was Freedom Unite. And he, yeah, disappeared again for a long time. Until, I believe, Monster Hunter Generations. I think that's when he returned to the series. And then, for some fucking reason, they decided to put him in World, which is a bit fucking weird. But, yeah, that's what they decided to do. Oh, he's doing the flop. This is exactly why I go ranged. Look at this whole team getting fucked, except for Vernon, of course. Because he was in the air. Aerial Greatsword, check that out. But, yeah, the whole team's getting fucked by the flopping maneuver. Meanwhile, I'm back here not having to worry about it. Oh, that's a heavy shot. Didn't mean to do that. Probably should do triple volley, shouldn't I? Let's look out for that attack. Again, much like actual pierce ammunition, it's better to pierce down the body, but triple volley takes a long time to get off, so sometimes I just shoot it no matter what. Doesn't matter whether... Ooh, that was well targeted, wasn't it, Mr. Lava Fish? It's very important that the team always attacks when Lavazioth peeks his head up out of the ground, because it's very easy to flinch him out of that. Gives you a good opportunity to hit him. Go for a heavy shot. I haven't been doing heavy shots because it's harder to be accurate with heavy shots, but under these circumstances I'll do it. In fact, I might even... If I'm going to do heavy shots, we'll pull out the old dash juice. Yeah, Aerial Greatsword looks pretty fun, because if you think... Oh my god. Look at this team. I like this team. I like this team a lot. You have to understand that this is a G-rank hyper monster, and he's already limping. Nice work, guys. Very nicely done. Oh, why am I going the wrong way? I'm like totally not paying attention to where I am. I literally thought I was going in the opposite direction to where I was. Bit too distracted by lighting. Ugh. Nitin has died, unfortunately, but I'm not going to blame him too much. Lavasioth is very annoying. Try a double Lavasioth quest in 2nd gen. It's not fun. Because they always enter the same room together. They will start in different rooms, but they progress to a different area very quickly, so... And as is traditionally the case with Piscine Wyverns, we will get 4 calves. Don't know why they decided to do that, it seems very strange. Why would a big fucking fish give you more calves than a flying wyvern, for example? It's a bit weird, but they've always done that. Going back to 1st generation. With the old Plesioth. Oh, Plesioth. Imagine making Plesioth and then thinking, let's have a lava version. But a fatter lava version. Look at this ugly fucking thing. Yeah, one thing that I've always wanted to try was aerial pellet with heavy bowgun. I've never gotten around to it because I don't really use styles, but if I had to choose a style and a weapon type that I wanted to do that was different to anything I'd done before, it would be heavy bowgun, aerial with pellet shots. That's really good fun, from what I can tell. Alright. I'll tell you what, I'd like to get some more King Armor Spheres in Freedom Unite. They're called Royal Armor Spheres in Freedom Unite, same colour, and also the 2nd best. But in Freedom Unite, for some reason, so many of my armor pieces still need to be upgraded, and I just don't have the Royal Armor Spheres for them. It's really annoying. Hopefully Chief is going and posting? I think so, yes he is. Thank you. Saved me the time, doesn't it? Doomlink with his hair problems. Just like Chargeblade, it shouldn't exist. Oh dear. Well, I think Chargeblade is... Look, I think if we're comparing Chargeblade to Switch Axe, I think Chargeblade is definitely an improvement. Well, Potato, what? Okay, this is an important discussion. If you hate Chargeblade so much, what is your opinion on Switch Axe? It's a morph weapon. It's an axe and a sword. Very similar. Is your opinion, therefore, that Switch Axe is superior to Chargeblade? This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's posting. Can he not find the quest? Of course, I can post anything that he wants me to. I'm content to do that. How many uses do I have with bow by now? 174. Okay. Not too bad. I was hoping to be around 200 by now, but this is a pretty, you know, good indication of what my preferences are for weapon types. 1st is greatsword, 2nd is light bowgun, 3rd is heavy bowgun. And then quite far under heavy bowgun is dual blades. Coming at 4th. Elatrion. Okay. Good old Elatrion. And apparently Vernon needs a Elatrion. Well, I'll probably go raw. Probably raw bowgun. I won't go normal because honestly I'd want to aim for the head if I were going normal, and the head's quite high up and often out of critical distance, so I'll go with heavy pierce, I guess. No, I usually go heavy pierce with Elatrion on camera, don't I? So let's go light pierce. You like Switch Axe, but you hate Chargeblade. It's like they had a sword and shield and switch axe. Well, it's like a switch axe and sword and shield had a deformed baby. I don't know, man. In my opinion, Charge Blade is a better version of Switch Axe. If one had to exist and the other had to disappear, I think Charge Blade should have been the one to stay, and Switch Axe should have disappeared. Because Switch Axe has always been a shit weapon type. It's always been very boring, uninspired, kind of interesting in the sense that it has a morphing capability, but that stopped being a novelty after Try. And it was just, you know, not a good weapon type. It's very boring, in my opinion. Charge Blade had a lot more going for it. It was just a more inspired, complicated version of Switch Axe, and yeah. I wasn't open to Charge Blade at first, as you know, but once I actually decided to give it a chance and learn how to use it, it was much better than Switch Axe, I'll tell you that. So, yeah. What else we got? Maybe normal 2. That should be good enough. Don't think I'll need more than that. If I need more than that, then something's wrong with the team, and from what I can tell, this is a good team, so... What playstyle does it fill? Well, I suppose it would be a similar playstyle to that of Longsword. The sort of playstyle where you are very focused on specific attacks, but you know, if you... It's sort of a... It's effectively the Longsword playstyle, but with the ability to block attacks, right? If you're skilled enough, and I don't really use Charge Blade in that way. Hold on. Hopefully I can Demon Affinity these guys before they leave, come on. There we go, let's go. I hate it when people leave before I can Demon Affinity. Pisses me off. Alrighty. I appreciate that you don't like Charge Blade, Potato, but I'm not really satisfied by your explanation. You haven't really given me a reason as to why you actually dislike it. You've given me a reason as to why you think it's a strange concept, but I think it's, you know, functionally a pretty good weapon type. And definitely better than Switch Axe. I mean, what playstyle does Switch Axe fill? I guess it's the same thing. It's sort of longsword based, where you're very focused on just attacking. It's a very aggressive attack-based weapon type. Not much going on in the way of evasion. There's a little bit, but not much. I'm trying to get slicing on the head, just to deal good damage, you know. I don't really know how True Shot Up works with slicing, because I feel like True Shot Up would affect the impact of the shot, not the actual slicing part of the shot. It might not be the case, but I feel that logically that's how it would work. It would be the initial impact of slicing, which is not damaging at all. Ooh, that's nasty. I think, wait, what did kill you, Vernon? That's a strange time to die. I thought maybe you got killed by a fire geyser, but I don't think there was one. Anyway. Yeah, hating the idea of Charge Blade is fine. If you've ever... I'd recommend trying to use it if you haven't used it. Potato, because I was also against it until I really gave it a chance. And I didn't... let me tell you, I didn't give it a chance until this game that I'm playing right now. I didn't use it in 4 Ultimate. And I didn't use it in Generations, but I did use it in this game. And I came to enjoy it. Not as much as most other weapon types, but I do use it on occasion. Which says a decent amount, I think. It says that it's something that I'd be willing to use when not forced to. And a situation in which I would be forced to, in my opinion anyway, would be if I needed to get the uses up for my guild card. But I'm using it outside of that, so therefore it's not a bad weapon type for me personally. So... it is a little bit annoying to have to try and aim for the head, but once I've got my slicing out, then... it's fucking close. Not a fan of that one. Thought it was a paralysis or something. I was wondering why he was knocked down. I didn't see that Vernon was in the air. Alright. Trying to get in position. Oh, there we go. I'm taking damage from the heat, but that's alright. Get some good shots off on the head here. It's very good. I'm actually kind of shocked that we haven't broken one of the horns by now. Oh, look at that. Both are broken, which shows that the first horn was very close to breaking anyway. Isn't that good to see? Alright, time to move on to Pierce. That's right, I've got rapid fire on Pierce level 1, that's why I never need to bring combinations for this. Yeah, I'd recommend giving it another go. I mean, it's me you're talking about, Potato. You know how difficult it is for me to adapt to new things in Monster Hunter. I'm always very pig-headed about that. But Charge Blade I got used to, and it's decent. I don't think... Look, if you like Switch Axe, I'm not saying that you're going to like it more than Switch Axe, but I think you will see why it has a place among the weapon types in the game. That's what I think. If you do give it a chance. Just, you know, you can either feel it out yourself as you use it in quests, or you can check up a tutorial online of how to use it effectively. Whatever suits you best. But if you go through the motions of using it, and it's probably the most... among the Blade Master weapon types, it is definitely... You know, that's a great point. The stream keeps jutting out. Is anyone else having that issue? Is anyone else having connection issues with the stream? It might be just with Vernon. At the moment it looks fine. I don't seem to be having an issue with it. According to OBS anyway. That's a paralysis. Who's got paralysis? I was telling a story about something. I don't... Yeah, I don't have a VPN active or anything like that. So everything should be fine, but if anyone else is experiencing jumping or other connection-based issues for the stream, do let me know. Because definitely some issues can be based on individual viewers' connection. And then other times there can be something with the stream itself. So it's always important to work out which of the two it is. Yeah, so when you asked what type of playstyle does it fill, like what sort of desire for playing with a weapon does it fulfill, it is the most... It is, among all of the Blade Master weapon types, there is more of a process attached to it than any other. In the way that you need to, first and foremost, get your files. You need to deal with Red Shield, which has... It basically affects the way, or rather it affects how much damage you deal with your axe attacks in general. It also gives you a different attack for the X and A. And it's very process driven. There is no other Blade Master weapon type that is as process driven, except for the Insect Blade. But I would argue that it's more process driven than the Insect Blade. Or maybe it's about equal. It's slightly more or equal to that of Insect Blade. The reason why it would be slightly more is because of the AED. AED does not exist unless you have Red Shield. So the stream seems to be having issues. That's annoying. Well, I've got no idea what's causing that. It generally doesn't happen, but I guess for some reason my internet's not being great at the moment. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. If it's only happening now and it was fine for the rest of the stream, then it is what it is. Unfortunately, live streaming is, and always will be, a very volatile affair. It's not always going to go smoothly, you know. I do what I can. Doesn't matter how well you get it down, there will always be something to fuck with it, so. And it's like that with all technology, really. The more reliant you are on technology, the more room there is for something to go wrong, so. Ooh, that looks like a dangerous mount. Vernon must be very close to being thrown off. No, he managed it. Yeah, that was a very aggressive Elatrion. I'm trying to check to see if I'm losing connectivity on OBS, and every time I check it seems to be fine. So maybe it's YouTube's side. That might actually be what it is. If you are experiencing issues, I think it would be safe to say that it's YouTube's side, because based on OBS, I can basically see the speed at which I'm uploading, right? In real time. And every time I check, it's in the green. So therefore, YouTube might be delivering the stream poorly because YouTube's shitting itself, which, as we know, has happened quite frequently recently, so. As long as it's archiving properly, I'm happy. That's what I'll say about that. If it's affecting the archive, then that's going to be annoying, but yeah. Could very well be YouTube's side. Alrighty. Of course, the Ice Crystal attack is essentially a reimagining of the White Fatalis attack. Alright. That's the end of that. Oh, I already carved the tail. I remember doing that. I was able to carve, like, right off from the legs there. That was very odd. They must have increased the carve range for the body of Elatrion. Good hunt though. We got both horns broken, which is always important. I consider any Elatrion hunt where both horns are not broken to be almost a waste of a hunt. Sorry for bumping the boom stand there. But yeah, it's almost a waste of a hunt, you know, because every single hunt, it's good to have a chance to receive Sky Swayers. Or Sky Swayer singular. I don't think I've ever received 2 in one quest. I think the only way that you can conceivably get more than 1 in a single quest is if you're doing the event quest, which gives you an additional chance to get it from the quest rewards. I believe that's how it works. And I don't even know if that event quest is in this game. Usually, you do have equivalent event quests throughout all the games. There probably is one for Elatrion if he's here. There's probably an event quest where he's much stronger and has a chance to drop Sky Swayers outside of breaking the horns, but yeah. We managed to get one, that is our 5th. And I have used a few as well. But yeah, Potato, they definitely wouldn't release a Scythe weapon type, for the reason that Longsword is already a counterpart weapon to the Greatsword. There would be no reason for them to have a counterpart to the Longsword because it's already paired with a weapon type. As I've said in the past, the only weapon type that needs a counterpart at this stage is the Insect Glaive, and I think they have achieved that with whatever it was called, the Volt Axe, or I can't remember what it was called. It was something that was going to accompany the Insect Glaive. There's only 2 weapon types. It's the bow and the Insect Glaive that do not have counterpart weapon types. So therefore that basically limits the weapon types that we are going to get in the future, if we do get more. But Insect Glaive, as of Frontier, does have a counterpart. I just keep forgetting the name of it. But, yeah, what we doing, Nitin? Oh, you again. Fucking hell. Alright. I don't even think it was Nitin who posted it last time. Or was it him? Maybe it was. Well, I guess we'll go with the Blade Master weapon. Let's go longsword. I don't usually go longsword these days. Let's do something a little different. Unfortunately, I have to use Oppressor's Law because that is the best Thunder longsword. I say unfortunately because I do not like these Enoga weapon designs. Never have. Well, I enjoyed them in Portable Third, but I got sick of them. I got really sick of them. After Portable Third. They just don't look that nice. I think what did it was in 3 Ultimate, the best Thunder weapons that you could get were Abyssal Laggy weapons, and they looked so incredible. I would say Abyssal Lagiacrus, still to this day, would be in the top 3 of monster weapon designs in the series, and playing a game where your best Thunder weapon had such a nice design really makes it so that when you come into a game like this, which, much like Portable Third, has most of the really good Thunder weapon types be from Zynoga, and you're looking at these weapon designs for your best Thunder weapon, it's just not nice. Not after Abyssal Laggy. Hello, person. I unfortunately cannot refer to you by any name because I cannot read your Chinese characters. I don't know if you're Chinese or Japanese, but welcome either way. Alright. So, it was my understanding. Oh, no, you start in the area over here, actually. Don't know why I thought he would start here. It's strange, for so long I never really took notice of the mirage in the distance here, but it's very. It almost messes with your head. It's really nice, actually. I wish that it was more reflective of the actual area that we went through here. I wish that there were more desert dunes to walk over. But I guess this is a second generation design, isn't it? So we probably wouldn't get anything that exciting. Alright. Longsword on Devil Joe. It's been a long time since I've even gone longsword with Devil Joe. It's very odd to do this, but I do enjoy some longsword. I don't often use longsword these days because I feel like it's a very basic weapon type, but of all the weapon types in the series, I'd say longsword is probably one of the most fun. It's just it's a very casual weapon type. You can just, and like, I consider myself a casual when it comes to Monster Hunter these days. You know, the only time when I was not a casual in Monster Hunter was during the Try days. After Try, I became a casual. If I don't appear to be a casual, it's because compared to how I was in Try, I'm now a casual. But yeah, because this is a very casual friendly weapon type, this for me is the most enjoyable weapon type, or at the very least one of the most enjoyable for me to pick up and use. Oh, let's try to phase slash back into there. I didn't want to go in that direction. Might be hard to get a full combo out here. Oh, I almost evaded in time. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of longsword, I really do. I think that there is a fair but also rough association that longsword has with certain players of Monster Hunter. But even for more advanced players, I think enjoyment can be had with longsword. Because it just does the job. It has good motion value. It has probably the best motion value of the Blade Master weapons, or perhaps we'll put it in these terms. It has the best motion value for the least effort. And so it's just a very generally effective. Oof. I actually thought that Unhinged Spirit was Critical Juncture, so I went to use that. But I didn't manage to use it anyway, so. But yeah, it's just a very effective weapon type. It's very. It's not super mindless. It's one of those weapon types where each button press corresponds with a single attack. There are certain weapon types where a single attack will result in sort of a flurry of movements, for instance, the dual blades. You can press the button once with dual blades and do multiple hits, which is not as clear and, I guess, deliberate as longsword is. Longsword is a very deliberate weapon type, despite being rather simplistic, so. Anyway, I think longsword's great. But as I said, I don't find myself using it as much anymore. Chief is setting a trap, apparently. Definitely among the second generation games, Longsword is my favourite. Definitely. My second favourite would probably be... Well, no. I should say that specifically for Blade Master weapons, Longsword is my favourite. I think my favourite weapon types for second generation would be... Ooh. For second gen, I don't know if I prefer gun to bow. I almost like them equally. I'm almost tempted to do the traditional longsword combo here. No one does the traditional longsword combo. But, well, after Freedom Unite, that is. As of Try, the traditional longsword combo basically died. It wasn't necessary anymore. Can I get out of here? Well, it seems like I can. Oh, let's go Unhinged Spirit, why not? Unhinged Spirit is basically Monster Hunter Tri Longsword, by the way. It seems really overpowered, but this is just how Longsword was. Your charge gauge would not deplete unless you just stopped using the weapon for ages, and all you really had to focus on was keeping your red gauge. So you just spammed the Spirit combo the whole time. And as I've said in the past, it's shocked me to see that they would bring Tri-Longsword back in any form. And they decided to bring it back in the form of a Hunter art, which, in my opinion, was just ridiculous. Because it does destroy the balance of Longsword, and I guess I shouldn't be too surprised considering that they destroyed the balance of Heavy Bowgun with Valor. I shouldn't be surprised at all. So if they were willing to destroy the balance of a whole weapon type using a style, then why wouldn't they be willing to do it with a Hunter art? So yeah, I shouldn't be too surprised that they'd bring back Tri-Longsword in the form of Unhinged Spirit. Look at this. Gotta love this team, man. Gotta love this team. Alright. One thing to note with Savage Deviljho is that he limps at a very, very low health threshold. He's one of the hardest monsters to capture without Capture Guru, because you almost never see him limp. The fact that we saw him limp there is, you know, that's a one-off. You will notice that when you kill Savage Deviljho, you usually just kill him. He often doesn't limp out, because again, he doesn't limp until he's at a very low health threshold. Longsword is boring. It is simple, I'll tell you that. But when you've used all the other weapon types so much, I think you realise that there is a beauty in simplicity, that's all I can say. As my guild card would suggest, not only in this game, but in all Monster Hunter games that I've played, there is a very even spread across all the weapons, or at the very least will say that I do use all of the weapon types a lot. And with that knowledge at hand, I can say that there is beauty in simplicity, and Longsword has that. And I enjoy Longsword. But I do realise that it's more fun to watch other weapon types, so I don't often record with Longsword. I will say that. Alright. So now we're back on to Vernon. We'll see what he wants. This will be my last hunt, actually, so it works out well. Unfortunate for Chief, but that's the way it is. I was only going to do 2 hours today. We'll see what our next quest is. What have we got? Thanks for hunting, says Chief. Well, bye. I will say that in the case of second generation, all the weapon types are very basic and simple, but the ranged weapon types were basically solid. They were down, they were simple, but they were good. And they didn't really have to evolve them too much. For instance, bow only changed in 3rd generation with the addition of arc shot. Outside of arc shot, bow was unchanged from 2nd to 3rd. And I feel that if you can identify how much or how little a weapon type has changed from 2nd to 3rd, you can identify how well the weapon type was designed already. Bowgun changed a little bit. Heavy bowgun was given its own ability. So for instance, light bowgun was given the rapid fire ability. In Monster Hunter 2, I think it was, when it was given rapid fire. And for the entirety of 2nd generation, heavy bowgun didn't have an equivalent to that. Heavy bowgun was always this slow-moving weapon type, but it didn't have a special ability like the light bowgun did, which was rapid fire for certain shot types. But in 3rd generation, heavy bowgun received crouch fire. Not in Tri, but instead received it in Portable 3rd. So, yeah, got a Brachydios to finish up. Okay. It's something we can easily 3-man as well, if we choose to depart with 3. Lyle. It's always a funny name, isn't it? L-Y-L, Lyle. I'll go Sword and Shield. I haven't been going Sword and Shield recently. The reason would be because I really have low defense with my Sword and Shield set. Nitin has left. Well, we might end up 3-manning anyway. But yeah, bow was basically unchanged. Heavy bowgun changed in one respect. In fact, it was like that with all the ranged weapons. For heavy bowgun and bow, the only thing that changed with them from 2nd to 3rd was the addition of one single additional ability. So in the case of bow, it was arc shot. In the case of heavy bowgun, it was crouch fire, which people used to call siege mode. And what else did they call it? It was siege mode, and there was another word that was used. Fortress mode? Something like that. It was like fortress mode, people call it. Or a word that would have the same meaning. But, yeah, it was... In the case of light bowgun, that didn't really change, I don't think. I don't think light bowgun changed at all from 2nd to 3rd. Let me just see if I've got everything I need. I think I do. Oh, looks like we got someone joining. A hunter rank 999. This is going to be a quick hunt, I suppose. Not a sensible 3-man, but rather a 4-man beatdown. It's fine. Alright. But yeah, some of the weapon types changed a lot. I'd say the weapon types that changed the most would be... I guess Gun Lance changed the most, and Hunting Horn. Yeah, Hunting Horn and Gun Lance had very fundamental changes. And in the case of both of those, in fact in the case of all of the weapon types I've mentioned so far that had changes, we only got to see those in Portable 3rd. Because for some reason they didn't add siege mode in Tri, and there was no bow in Tri, there was no Gun Lance in Tri, there was no Hunting Horn in Tri. So people don't realise just how important Portable 3rd was in the evolution of Monster Hunter. Tri was extremely important, but when it came to weapon types and the changes from 2nd to 3rd, Portable 3rd was the really important game. So, yeah. Wonder if the Chinese guy's going to get there before me. I don't think he will. I think I'm going in a slightly faster... I'm taking a slightly faster route, I believe. Which would be on account of my familiarity with this area, given that I have played Freedom Unite about the same length of time I've played this game. Which is sitting around 1,000 hours. No, I think I've done a bit more than 1,000 hours of Freedom Unite. Or maybe about that. Either way, I've done about 2,000 hours of games where this map exists, so I guess I know the faster way. Naturally. Oh, Sword and Shield, I do love you. I just don't often use you in this game because my set is so weak. Defense-wise, it has less than 700 defense. Less than 700. And you can see that the reason why is because I've got Hayabusa Feather and 3 armor pieces that are at the low level of G-rank defense. All of these pieces are fully upgraded. It's just very unfortunate that I have to settle for very low defense. It just means that I can only use this set against monsters that really don't do too much damage. I can't use Sword and Shield for really strong monsters like Elder Dragons or Hyper Monsters, so at the G-rank level anyway. And it's not because of the weapon type, it's purely because of my set. It's just what it is. Doing a draw attack on the face because I understand the motion value to be very good. Love that attack. Can barely see what the hell's going on with all this Pierce going on. Can you believe that we've got... Is it 1 or 2 Pierce Gunners? I think we've got 2 Pierce Gunners here. Yep. If you want to know what overkill is 2 Pierce Bow Gunners going up against a regular G-rank monster. I don't have too much respect for a Hunter rank 999 who chooses to go with a Pierce light bowgun against a regular G-rank monster. It means they've got more interest in beating down monsters and killing them as fast as possible versus just, you know, having a fun hunt. Because by Hunter rank 999 you should have more desire than that. At least I feel. Anyway. Hunter rank 999 is very easy to get to in this game versus others, so maybe it doesn't mean as much. Wait for him to do the tail swing and then I'll go in with Chaos Oil, but he was flinched away, but I still managed to get him. Which is pretty good. I still need to get Chaos Oil 3, I believe it's acquired from the double quest with Hyper Gold Raytheon and Hyper Silver Rapalus. Still haven't done that quest for some reason, but let's sword dance him, this should kill him honestly. Don't colour me surprised, he must be very close. That's fine. Large wyvern tail. But yeah, this works out rather well. It'll end up being... Why did I go this way? Oh, he did go this way. That's very strange. I wasn't expecting him to rotate into this area. When I saw the area that I'd followed him into, I was confused. I was like, really? He went here? But yeah, he did decide to come to this area. Very strange. The only monsters that you'd really fight here were Eodrome and Basarios in the older games. And I guess Teostra if you got him to progress. If Teostra had... well, no, not really Teostra, sometimes, but only if you were having a really long hunt with him. He wouldn't come to this area 7, unless you were really having a long hunt with Teostra, which happens, you know. And Lunastra as well. If you were having a long hunt with Lunastra, she'd come here. Otherwise, the rotation would take the monster to other areas first. You notice that I always talk about the older Monster Hunter games because I think that's the beauty of these games, you know. You can always draw comparisons between this and games from 10 years prior, practically. And it's good to do that. You can link them all together. And you create a very detailed and interesting story of the progression of Monster Hunter. the evolution and the changes and the things that stay the same as well. It's a beautiful picture. But it can't last forever. We can't always have a Monster Hunter game that is directly comparable to games that came 10 or 15 years prior to the one that we're playing, so yeah, I think it is time that we move into the 5th generation and do something a little different. Meanwhile, I'm fighting the same fucking monsters that I've fought in like 5 games. Oh, Capcom. Anyway, that's going to be all for me, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. This has been one of the more positive recordings that I've done of this game, shockingly. Sometimes, based on the people that I play with, I get a little bit negative, but this has been a good recording. I've enjoyed it a lot. Hopefully YouTube has more or less delivered the stream smoothly to you. It seems that it has struggled to do that. If it has struggled to do that, then I do hope that it has managed to archive the stream properly, such that those watching the VOD do not have to suffer skips in the recording. But either way, I will say that I thank you all for watching. Thank you, Vernon, as usual, for hunting with me. And I will see you all when I'm next recording in Monster Hunter or whatever other game that you'd like to play of mine. Do keep in mind that I'll be going on holiday for 4 days, 5 days, so I'm not going to be uploading anything during that time, which is why I decided to finish up with a Monster Hunter recording, which usually pulls in more viewers. But either way, I will see you in 4 or 5 days, and I do thank you for watching.